Lesson 10.1, Video 5. Quotient property of square roots. Now, when you have the root of a fraction, as mentioned before, you can write that fraction, that root of a fraction, as the fraction of two separate roots. And that's important for us. So, in detail, for any real numbers a and b, where a is positive and b is positive, the square root of ab is equal to the square root of a divided by the square root of b. So again, long way of explaining something very simple. Now, there's a couple things you can do in simplifying these problems. Okay, so first of all, by definition here it says you can use properties of square roots to rationalize the denominator. That's that word we mentioned earlier, which means getting rid of a root in the denominator. This involves multiplying the numerator and denominator by a factor that eliminates radicals in the denominator. So, very complicated way of doing something very simple. But I want to show you two different ways of doing this question. Okay, so first of all, in the method just discussed, would say that the root 2 is the problem. This fraction is not simplified because of the root 2. Alright, so I need to multiply by root 2, and I choose root 2 because I know that root 2 times root 2 is equal to root 4. And I know that the root of 4 is 2. So by multiplying by that same value, I'm able to create a number that I can root. On top, I get, again, 4's on the outside of the root, so that's left alone. 2 and 6 are inside the roots, so I get root 12. So now I have 4 root 12. Now at this point, if I wanted to, I can take 2 and 4 and simplify that down, because now they're both on the outside of a root, and I get 2 root 12. But if you remember, I need to make sure my root is simplified. So 2 and 6, 2 and 3. So now I have 2, inside the root I have 2 times 3. There's 2 of those, it can come out as 1. You're left with 2 times 2 times root 3, which gives you a final answer of 4 root 3. Now, that's one way to do it. Another way is to simplify first. Now, I want to show you an alternative method. And it's your choice. Now, I have a root on the top and a root in the bottom. So I can rewrite this as 4 and write one big root, 6 over 2. That was our property. We can go back and forth between the root of a fraction and the fraction of two separate roots. But I do this because, if you notice, I can simplify this fraction now. And I get 1 and a 3. And that gives us 4, and now I have a root 3 on top, and I have a root 1 on the bottom. Well, the root of 1 is 1. And there's the same answer. So I just try to simplify my roots first in terms of changing them to the root of a fraction and simplifying the fraction. And sometimes that is a little bit nicer way to go. And this ends Lesson 10.1, Video 5.